Alright, we're back with Season 2 with what is the lowest level you can beat Pokemon Red and Blue using a specific Pokemon. Today we're using Chansey. Now in Gen 1, Chansey's a beast. Remember, special is just one, attack and defense. So Chansey has incredible special and great HP, but to physical moves, it is not great. So basically, we just don't want the Dugong to use rest, because it just wastes our power points. So we go ahead and knock out the Dugong, which is pretty sweet here. Now the Cloyster can be a huge pain. If it gets you in a clamp or too many spike cannons, it will knock you out. A critical hit spike cannon's pretty much game over. But its special is pretty bad, so we go ahead and knock that out. And then we're going to come in with the great strat of Mimic and use that for Amnesia. You know the drill, pretty standard in these runs. Get to slow, bro, then it becomes pretty free. At any lower levels, I just didn't have enough power to knock out the Dugong, and it would just have more opportunity to use rest, and then I would always lose on the Cloyster, so this seemed to be the lowest level I would be able to get past. I do have Soft Boiled, which is pretty nice, but we're definitely not out of the woods. Jinx has pretty good special, and that's the only attacking moves we have, so Jinx is still a big threat, and Lapras is as well. Jinx does also have a lot of physical moves, and our physical defense is just atrocious. But I will say Chansey knows that it's the season premiere, because the first 3 battles of this run are just insane. I get so lucky. So out comes Lapras. We get a nice lucky Hydro Pump miss there, and a nice critical hit, but that Body Slam does damage! 1 HP left. I gotta get so lucky here. Super Potion! There we go, so that's Lorelei down. We're back! Thank you guys for watching. Alright, what's the lowest level you can beat Pokemon Red and Blue with the Chansey? We are on to Bruno here. Now, Chansey must have known that this was a season premiere here, because Chansey has another nail biter here, so you're going to want to watch this one. So I'm going to go ahead and do the classic Mimic Harden, okay? Only the Hitmonchan uses special moves, the rest are physical moves, so Harden is great to have, and it also helps me out with that badge boost glitch. Onyx is locked into a Rage, which is the worst move in the game, so that's very good for us. Also, something to note, I got rid of Soft Boil. I feel like I'm going to regret that decision later, but we're going with it. I just felt like Sing is going to help me out more. But like in a situation like this, if I had Soft Boil, it would be a walk, because I have all that defense, my special's already good, and then I heal, but we'll see. So out comes the Hitmonlee, and it does a massive Mega Kick. Not good to see. Even with all those Hardens, it still does that much. That is how bad Chansey's regular defense is. We level up, we lose our badge boost, but we still do have all those Hardens. So I go ahead and I use an Ice Beam, and it's still a one-hit KO, so that is awesome. And the Machamp should take me out, but just watch this. This is insane, okay? And look how little damage I do. I'm going for the freeze here, because that's what I really need, and I get the X item. I get a focus energy. I get a banger critical hit, misses the fissure, which could do damage to me, because Machamp is faster. He just can't put himself together, and I take him out. So there you go, Bruno. You suck. I mean, that was a little harsh, but you get it. You're not. Alright, so Agatha is another nail biter. We're doing what's the lowest level you can beat Pokemon Red and Blue with the Chansey. So I felt confident getting rid of Soft Boil pretty much because of Gengar and his Dream Eater, and when we do Blue, Alakazam has Recover. So I don't really need a healing move that I can't just mimic. And Sing or Sleep as a whole in Gen 1 is just so broken. So I go ahead and I mimic Dream Eater, and then I put Gengar to sleep. Now, Dream Eater recovers my HP, and it's super effective against the Gengar. But I do need to watch out for power points, because I'm not going to be able to use it on every single Pokemon in this one. So I go ahead and I have full HP, so I go ahead and I go for Ice Beam on the Golbat. I think Freeze Chance is a little bit better than a Parahax. But then I am a little hurt, so I am going to go ahead and try to put it to sleep. But it goes for Haze for me and gets me out of that confusion, which was really nice with that Golbat. And then I go ahead and I use Dream Eater. The reason I did this, I just wanted to go into Haunter with a little more HP than I had. Just because Sing's only 55% accurate, so I'm not really guaranteed to hit a Sing ever. Even though the way this is going, you would think differently. So pretty good, honestly, that she moved into Arbok. It did waste a power point, which kind of stunk, but it does mean that now I have 2 of her 3 remaining Pokemon asleep. So then I do go ahead and I put Arbok to sleep, but I'm not using Dream Eater just because I know I can use it on the Haunter when it comes back out, and I do need to save power points for that final Gengar.
So I go ahead and I use the Dream Eater here, and then I'm going to use one more, and I only got one left for the Gengar, but I kind of figure, you know, I need HP anyway, so it's not like it's a waste to use. I go ahead and I go for Sing right away. That Toxic is not great, because it actually does quite a bit of damage as the battle progresses. And I just use my last Dream Eater, so that's all the health I'm going to recover. I go ahead and I go for Ice Beam to go for that freeze chance in case it wakes up, but it's just not waking up, which is pretty sweet, but that poison is doing damage to me. And I get the luckiest critical hit.
Alright, we're on to Lance here. So, Chansey learns Defense Curl at level 44, so I had quite the time debating if I want to get rid of Mimic or Sing for Defense Curl so I can use the badge boost. However, I just came to the conclusion that Chansey's defense is so bad that even using 6 defense curls doesn't get me where I need to go, and I would have to have soft boil. So the strat's either going to be Mimic and Sing, or if you're going to try this on your own, you might want to try Defense Curl and soft boil. So I end up just mimicking agility. I go for it all here and get all my agilities off. I did this about 30 times, and this was the first time I ever got past the Dragonair because Hyper Beam is that devastating to Chansey. But once you do get those agilities off, you're not going to level up till the Dragonite. I get a nice lucky freeze here, so I don't think it would have been an issue if it attacked me with anything other than Hyper Beam. That was very nice and lucky. And then we get Dragonite, which will tank 1, even though it is 2 times super effective. But the Dragons just can't handle this chance. Alright, here we go. So, right out the bat, first thing you're going to notice, level 51. Frustrating, right? If you could get insane freeze luck, you can get past at a lower level. But let me tell you, I did about 30 to 35 attempts at each level prior to this, and I just could never get through. Always some shenanigan happened. I use Reflect, I use Light Screen, I use quite a bit of different strategies, but just Sing and Mimic seem to work the best. We got a Mimic Recover just because we're going to need to gain health at some point. If all Blue ever used was special moves, we'd have no issues, but there's enough physical moves going on that really just take a toll on Chansey. And God forbid that Rhydon gets a Leer or Tail Whip off, then it's just kind of all over from there on the Executor. Yikes. And truthfully, the Executor was really the only challenge in this, because if it hits you with the Hypnosis, Barrage and Stomp just do enough. I got a nice freeze there, which honestly saved this run. I actually quit and tried this a couple different times. If you don't freeze the Executor, it's just not going to happen. Sing is an option, but I just was not getting what I needed out of Sing. And then once you get to the Gyarados, you just need to hope for no Hyper Beam. Hyper Beam will do significant damage. But other than that, it's pretty much free at this point. Because even Hydro Pump, it's not really the end of the world, and it's flying water, so Thunderbolt does a lot. And then Charizard, honestly, Charizard's trash. I'm going to have to redo every single run and use it, go up against Charizard, because Rage is the worst move in the game. Holy cow, was that just a plot twist I didn't expect coming. So there we go, that's Chansey.